Say it ain't so. The injury bug strikes again. We're jumping into the latest Owen Freeman injury news, as well as another masterpiece put together by Coach Mack and Coach Murph. Let's roll.
Heads up, it's the Roll Jays podcast, the voice of the Creighton basketball fan. With your hosts, Jimmie Allen, Alex Drake, and Casey Matthews. Join the crew and meet CU players, coaches, and a whole lot more. Now, the Roll Jays podcast. Here's Jimmie Allen.
Jimmie, seems like it's been a month, but I know it's only been a little over a week since we've been together. But hey, man, it's good to see you.
Yeah, glad that you're back. We're back in the swing of things here on the Big East Energy Network. Roll Jays podcast brought to you by Fire Marketing and Pyramid Contractors. Fortunately, got some bad news to jump into.
We do, but hey, before we go there, let's start positive. Let's talk non-con schedule. Let's talk
fun stuff to dive into also.
Yeah, I think we could talk about the masterpiece. I think it's a masterpiece that Mac and Murph put together. I'm gonna throw it up here on the screen here, Jimmie, and also great, cool graphic too. I love the graphic. But you know what? I'm gonna kind of turn over to you. I want to get your vibe on it because I've, back in my past on the staff, I obviously was privy to more information and could look at these schedules and kind of see some things that I thought. But I want to get your thoughts before I give you mine.
Yeah, Steve Murfeld kind of broke it down for us. So there'd be that one non-conference game that hadn't been announced yet that comes out. Obviously, we get K-State in Omaha. Not necessarily the big marquee game like we had Kansas last year and some of the other huge names. But listen, with the Players Era Festival, the schedule is going to fill itself out. You get a nice little dose of South Dakota, North Dakota in there before you get warmed up, before you get out to Vegas, and more importantly, before you head to Spokane to take on Gonzaga. But when you get Baylor and Iowa State in a tournament, where you even have the chance to play another big marquee name like one of those 16 teams that are going to be out in Vegas. This non-conference is pretty loaded when you throw K-State and Nebraska into the equation already.
I agree. And here's the thing. Like, when I look at the schedule, I love the fact that we're going to be tested pretty much right away, with going to Gonzaga. I actually was just in Spokane last weekend, and it was awesome. I mean, I've never been there before. I've never seen a game that I've always wanted to, but just kind of being there, I got a chance to tour the facility, see the gym. That place is going to be absolute bananas. A couple of the locals actually told me there's a 30-year waiting list for season tickets. It is nuts. They're excited about their team for this year. So I think that place is going to be absolute bananas. And I think it's a good challenge. I think it's it's going to be, here's what I like about it. Communication is so important for teams that are going to be successful, right? And this team that we have built this year, there's going to be a lot of new pieces. There's going to be a lot of communication that needs to take place. They're going to be challenged early on some of that communication at a non-conference, away site that's going to be loud. They're going to be in your face. And it's going to be interesting to see how some of these new pieces work well together, and how that communication looks in that game setting. So I love that. The rest of the home non-conference schedule is fine. I mean, they're all games that you're going to win.
You don't have any thoughts on Maryland East Shores?
Not going to win. No, look, you can't overlook anybody. There's a reason why they're bye games. Mm-hmm. And, and you're supposed to win these games. And you also, as you go into that Players Era, you want to have some confidence. So I like what they did there, scheduling a couple games that you should, on paper, win and win big as you go into that Players Era deal. Obviously, the game at Nebraska, I feel good. I feel like we should, again, everything's on paper, right?
So I feel
good. Yeah, I feel like we should win that game. And then the Kansas State game is sneaky good. I think Coach Tang has done a good job putting together a schedule, a team. And there's some pressure on Kansas State now, whereas a year prior they were still riding that high of making the NCAA tournament and doing all those things. It's kind of an off year. last year for them. There's some pressure on them now to produce, and so I think they'll be juiced up for that game. Finish it out with Utah Tech. Good program, but at the same time, it's another game where
it's a tune-up
on paper. Yes, on paper, you should win that game, especially at home. So I like what they've done. I do. I think it's a good mix of, you're going to play some good opponents. You're going to get challenged. You're going to get some wins too. And you should have some confidence.
To steal a line from you, the other team's going to try to win. We talk about the communication piece, right? And for these new pieces, not only are you going to get the opportunity to get that communication down on the road at Gonzaga, but you're obviously also going to have Mark Few being able to call the plays against you. You get a guy in TJ Osselberg at Iowa State. And when you talk about Scott Drew at Baylor, I mean, these are three of the best coaches in the country that you're going to get to test these new pieces with and also get those reps in before you get to the Big East schedule as well.
That's a good point. What do you think about the fact that you're going to have Iowa State as an exhibition, and then obviously playing again in the Players Era?
Yeah, I'm really surprised that that's still happening, right? I mean, I talked to him. I don't know if you watched the episode, but I talked to Murph about that last week, and he said all signs are pointing to that exhibition still happening, and obviously the Players Era Festival's set in stone, and that they can't take that off the slate, right? So, and I think it's fair to point out that they've also done this secret scrimmage for a couple of years now, right? And it's also a situation where Mac and TJ Otzelberg know each other pretty well. So are we cutting hairs here? And it is, it's going to be for some NIL money, and there's going to be some bonuses to being on the net positive side in that tournament. But is it really that big of a deal when you look at it? And how much are we going to see a bunch of the backup guys in halfway through that scrimmage anyway? So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how much different those two games look.
Yeah, it's a good point. I think they both head coaches. They're great friends. They know each other well. Obviously, TJ knows our Iowa transfers quite well.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see. I think I guess if there's any level of not disappointment, but if there's any level of that, I think it would just be the fans coming to that game knowing that there's, you're just not going to show much, which you wouldn't do anyways in an exhibition.
I think anybody that showed up to the Purdue game wasn't expecting much last year either. You know what I mean? I think Creighton fans are so in the know of what's going on that they kind of understand what they're getting in this situation.
Yeah. It will be. I'd be really interested to see though how TJ handles Creighton defensively.
Yeah, how much you want to put on film for that game that matters? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, because listen, I'm telling you, and I've said it a million times, there's nobody better than Mac at adjustments. And so if TJ shows him too much, and like how he's going to guard stuff, it's just too much time. It's too much time for Mac to be able to diagram and having Huss back. Too much time to make adjustments offensively to hurt him. So it'll be really interesting to see how vanilla that game is, but it'll still be fun for fans. I know that, but the Colorado State one is great too. Honestly, for an exhibition, you got Ali Farouknesh bringing the squad to Omaha. He's going to be. I don't know if he's got another exhibition before that, but it'll be his first go at it as a head coach. I'm excited for him. I've got a chance to know Ali a little bit over the years, and he's a phenomenal human being. He was in Nebraska GA in the past, so he's got some ties here. So that'll be fun. But overall, I think it's a really good non-conference schedule. I think it sets up well for the Big East schedule and something for the fans to be excited about.
I'm really intrigued by the whole Players Era Festival, and we've kind of seen that thing balloon over the last couple of years. We saw the Crown last year as really the first iteration of like an NIL postseason tournament. I'm really intrigued to see how much the landscape of college athletics as a whole kind of moves to that style of. We talk about TV dollars, right, and revenue and advertisers and everybody kind of trying to get the best games, the marquee matchups and things like that. But I'm interested to see like how much money kind of pivots away from postseason football into maybe regular season non-conference matchups with helmet games. How much we start maybe seeing an influx of NIL money into the national championship tournament as well as the national title run. Because listen, there's going to be that draw of yeah, we want to go play for a national championship. And yes, 999% of people are going to want to play for a national championship over money, right? But there's going to be that lure for some people that probably don't have a shot at it. That do we care more about going and getting this bag at the end of the year, or do we want to go one and done in the NCAA tournament? I honestly think that by the end of whatever it gets decided by the College Sports Commission, I honestly think we start seeing an influx of NIL money into the national championship tournament just to combat that anyway.
Yeah, you very well could be right. I think your point of if you don't think you can really compete and win a couple games in the NCAA tournament, are you better off participating, or maybe not even in if the NCAA you're going to play in that, but more probably NIT.
Yeah,
are you better off in there?
And listen, it might be in the NIT's best interest if they want to stay relevant to throw NIL money into the equation, find a sponsor that's willing to pay for it.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jimmie. I do think that stuff will happen eventually. I don't know how soon it'll be, but I mean, again, that was a stupid comment I was about to make. I'm glad I caught myself there. You're not going to ever turn down NCAA berth,
no,
for the crown. Which, I hope the crown is
well. But listen, it depends on how much money we're talking about, right? Like the crown.
I don't think so.
The crown last year and the purse at the end of the tournament that Nebraska got at the end of the season. Yeah, absolutely. You're not ever turning that down. If we're talking 10 times that amount. Something astronomical like that, if they're able to find somebody to put that person up. And listen, I know it's a lot of money, and I'm not speculating that's the case, but you never know. I mean, this is college athletics. We're talking about billions of dollars being thrown around already.
Yeah, I think the number would just have to be nuts.
Yeah, sure.
Which again, my theory on this stuff.
The landscape that we're in, though, is nuts that big of a number? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of it's going to depend too on what happens with these leagues. Like I still really believe you're going to see, separation of the big leagues. And so,
not one of our topics that we're going to get into tonight, and maybe we can get this into a further episode. I think the UConn that came out where UConn is divulging basically, I think it was like 86% of their money to football. I think that becomes really interesting. Obviously, they've been quartered by the Big 12 twice in the last 4 years. If they're willing to put that much money into football, and that's the priority, and Jim Mora's got that program rolling up there. They just won 9 games last season. How much longer is UConn in the Big East, and is that something they're even interested in? That's something I think is really intriguing.
It's a good point. We'll have to talk to Mark about that. See if we can get his thoughts. I'm sure he's got plenty on that. But hey, listen, we got to get in. We got to talk Owen Freeman.
Yeah, John Rothstein breaks the news earlier this week that Creighton's Owen Freeman goes down with a knee injury. He's out 4 to 6 weeks and expected to be fully ready by the start of practice in September per Greg McDermott. Obviously, Owen Freeman transfers in from Iowa, 16.7 points per game, 6.7 rebounds per game last season as a Hawkeye. But Casey, this kind of pushes the needle about what we've kind of been talking about for 6 months. How much do we absolutely need Isaac Traudt to move to the 5 position? And now with Alexa Dimitrovic still not on campus, it's almost a de facto. We've seen the film. That's where Isaac Trout's been playing at in summer pickup.
Yeah, and Owen's been out for a little bit now, and the news just came out, but he was hurt a few weeks ago, and I don't want to speculate too much on the injury and all that, but Isaac has been stepping into some of that role, and we've talked about this on our show.
I've talked about it for a year now.
Yeah, you're right. I'm a firm believer that Isaac is better off moving to the 5. The Jays are better off with him moving to the 5. I think this is actually an opportunity, and certainly you don't want Owen Freeman to be hurt. Okay.
No, absolutely not.
However, he's hurt, so let's make the best of it. In this scenario, I think the best thing to come out of this will be some of those reps for Isaac. Now, this is where it gets tricky, is because that Gonzaga game is huge.
Bro, yeah, you're not wrong about that.
And so you just don't know how many weeks Owen's going to have with playing with these guys going into that Gonzaga game.
It's a couple things, right? It's not only that, but how much time has he had on that knee? How much is he compensating for when he comes back? Because listen, this is not an Owen Freeman thing. This is a human being thing, right? Anytime you come back from injury, you're just automatically compensating on that leg, and it helps. We obviously previewed the schedule for a little bit, but when you're in a new system, with new teammates around you. Yeah, it's going to help that Josh Dix is in town. Obviously, that's going to go a long, long way. But that's it. That's his only familiar in that entire room. You've had a little bit of time since you've been on campus. When we interviewed him just a few months ago, he was still in Iowa City. He hasn't been in Omaha that long. So for this to happen as soon as he gets here, it's just super detrimental, not only for his growth, but the growth of this team. With that being said, I think the one caveat is we do this every year, right? Something happens in Omaha and it's doom and gloom. And how are they going to figure this out? Is this the year the Jays missed the tournament? And then February shows up and this is just a well-oiled machine. Now, the one caveat is you don't have a 7'1" rim protector that you've had for the past 5 seasons. So, and that's the position we're talking about here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, man. Gosh, did you see the tweet? I don't know who it was. Gosh, I don't know who it was that tweeted this, but said like, my sources have told me it's a Liz Frank injury. I was dying.
I did not see this, but we can confirm it is definitely not a Liz Frank injury.
I'll send that one to you, dude. It's hysterical. But yeah, I look.
Shout out to our friends over at Crate Takes.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You gotta make the most of it, and I think for Isaac, it's an opportunity, obviously. And then, two, you know what? It's an opportunity to get some of these guards playing together, find some new ways to play. I mean, look, if there's a team that can handle this, I do think Coach Mack and Coach Huss, they'll scheme it well enough to we'll still be able to be competitive. You gotta have a healthy Owen to beat Gonzaga, I think, at Gonzaga. So that's got to be key number one. This is where
essentially you'd have to have Isaac play 40 minutes, right?
Yeah.
And he's the guy that's been getting 12 to 15 because I'm sorry, like we haven't obviously seen Aleska Dimitrovic up close yet, but the fact is that he's going to be a foreign player coming to play Americanized basketball for the very first time as a true freshman in college at 18 years of age, walking into one of the most hostile environments in all of college basketball. Mm-hmm. That's not going to go well for anybody. I don't care how good Aleska Dimitrovic ends up being.
Sure. No, I think. I mean, I don't think it's anything. I don't think that's a hot take, right? Yeah, that's a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I trust Mac. I trust Huss. They'll be ready to go. And shoot, man. I mean, he'll be back in a couple weeks, so he's gonna have. Yeah, and he'll be back by the time he'll be back by the start of official practice. Like he, and you have Jeremy Anderson. And that's the thing too, is like Jeremy's
still have the ace in the hole.
Yeah, and he's so good with this stuff, and obviously Ben McNair's been our trainer for a long time. Like they'll handle the situation well, but you just hate to see it in a time where you could use that extra time to come together. So we will see what happens. Jimmie, this was good to be back with you, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I know we're sponsored by Pixel 5 Marketing, Pyramid Contractors. We got a few more sponsors coming soon. We're excited about.
Absolutely. And if you'd like to sponsor the Roll Jays podcast, please reach out to myself on Twitter. You can see the handle down there, Jimmie Allen 1620 on Twitter. You can also send us a message at Jimmie Allen East Energy or Jimmie Allen at BigEastEnergy.com as well.
Cool. Jimmie, appreciate you, brothers. Good catching up again. We'll talk soon.